episode of 1923 Main Street.
Home of everything to do with Disney travel in style. We are your hosts.
I am Mike Bello Braddock.
And I'm Amelia Bello Braddock. And today, what does fancy mean on a Disney vacation?
Yeah, should you dress up? Should you bring dress up clothes? And when I say dress up, I'm talking about fancy dressing up. This sort of came out of last week. We had some comments from listeners. We were talking about dress codes at Disney World in last week's episode, and that raised the question, so we thought we'd do a show about it. Should I pack fancier clothes for a Disney vacation? Are you going to need them? Let's talk about where you might and what you might bring if you want to. I mean, normally it's a hot and sunny theme parks, and that's what you pack for. But are there occasions where you might want something a little nicer?
Yeah. I mean, personally, for me, I always say have a nice outfit. It does not matter what sort of vacation you're going on. You should always have a nice outfit because you never know. Even if something goes wrong and you have to leave the Disney parks for something or whatever, it's always a good idea to just have one in case. But with that being said, there are also a ton of instances in which you'd pack one purposefully to wear it.
I mean, you might want to go out for a nice dinner, you might want to go for a drink in a lounge, or you might want to stroll through Disney Springs and go to a show like Cirque du Soleil or something.
Yeah, even any of like the golf courses or stuff like that.
Exactly. And you want to feel a little bit more, you want to break from the more casual or even ratty, well, hopefully not ratty, but more casual clothes you've worn all day. And sometimes you might want to dress up a little tonight. So what does dressing up at Disney World actually mean? What do we see people wearing who aren't wearing their everyday park clothes? And then we'll get into places where you might want to wear them. So what would you say for women if they're thinking about packing something a little fancier? We're not talking about formal wear. It's not a wedding. That's what you'll see at weddings, right?
Yeah.
Grand Floridian Steps, if you're in the lobby.
I was going to say, and there are weddings.
It's
so
a good chance you're going to see formal wear, but we're not talking about that.
Well, if you're attending a wedding at Walt Disney World, then obviously that would be one of the instances of formal wear. I mean, other than that, there's a lot of different levels of fancy. I think most people tend to go the athletic wear route because it is a lot of walking and it is exercise to simply be at Walt Disney World. So anything, other than a t-shirt or athletic fabric, I personally consider dressing up, sort of. Anything that's a more traditional fabric material as opposed to sort of cotton or more relaxed, anything with a collar, even a skirt as opposed to shorts, are all that first little notch up that I personally tend to be more into that than the super, super casual wear. But then even more on top of that, there's sort of different lengths that become important for women's fashion as you become more formal also. So if you're looking to just dress it up slightly, even a longer dress looks more formal than a shorter dress, even if it's the same fabric, same top cut, same everything. That definitely just gives it that little bit of extra evening wear to it.
And then shoes, because I remember one occasion. So would you wear high-heeled shoes with those? Would you pack high-heeled shoes or any kind of dressy shoes like that? Because you're not going to wear white running shoes with that. I remember once, I don't know if you remember, we were on the monorail and a couple got on, and the woman was dressed up quite nicely with high-heeled shoes, and the guy had a jacket and tie, and people were looking at them. I found it sort of funny. Why are you looking down on people for dressing up almost? But that's what we're talking about. They wanted a nice evening, and there are certainly places you can go to. We'll talk about in a minute. But what would you say for footwear for those things if you want a nice overall look?
Personally, I always go with heels. But that being said, if you are not comfortable walking in heels, if you're not used to walking in heels, don't bring them.
So a nice
Okay.
Sandal or something, right? Something
especially
different than park
it's
shoes.
Florida. A nice sandal, even with the tiniest heel you can imagine. Little strappy sandals, lower heels if you want to do a heel. I mean, you do you. If you're used to wearing super high 4-inch heels, whatever, go for it. But I would not break them out for Disney. I would stay lower is obviously more comfortable. A lot of nice pairs of flats are good options because they're still dressier than traditional, park shoes, running shoes, flip-flops, but they are comfy. Just beware of your footwear. Have walked in it before. same rules apply. Do not break out a new pair of heels, flats, sandals, whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point.
For your day.
Always holds
Same
true.
thing.
You know, for guys, as always, I guess it's a little easier if you want that break look from what you're going to wear in the parks. Good things that will get you just about everywhere that look nice but are still upscale casual. Almost, you know, if you work in an office, even hybrid or something, and you have business casual, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So that would mean if you like wearing pants in Florida, I don't, but some people do. So casual pants or casual shorts that look nice, you know, the nicer shorts, along with a button-up shirt or even a golf shirt if you want.
I was going to say, yeah, a
I
button-up
prefer
shirt
the
or a
button.
polo.
Yeah, and you can bring a belt if you want to make it look nice. You can even wear a hat if you want to go really fancy in those things. And then again, nicer shoes depending on where you're going and what you're doing. You know, it's funny, you have all these outfits and then you got white sneakers. Like women who work in offices a lot, you'll see them on commuting and then they change in the office. So you're not commuting anywhere. So if you might just want to wear something that's not going to jar the look of your outfit. I mean, if you're going to all the trouble to bring a nice outfit, bring shoes to match.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, there are places where you may really want to dress up.
Yeah. Like, for example, we mentioned last episode Disney's dress code, but there are also other places on property that have their own dress codes, specifically Disney signature restaurants. There's not one dress code that applies to all of them. So, for example, Victoria and Albert's has definitely the strictest dress code of anywhere on property, I would say. And then there's other dining restaurants that are a little bit more open and sort of depends on the location, whether or not they're in the park, different things like that as well.
Yeah, so these is what Disney calls their signature dining. And those are typically the nice table service restaurants. So California Grill, Narcoossee's, Citrico's, Yachtsman Steakhouse, Le Cellier, Takumi Tay in Epcot, those kind of places.
Yeah.
The Hollywood Brown Derby. Now, like you, Amelia, just said, if you're in the park, they're going to give you a little bit more leeway because you're in your park clothes. But if you're going to one of these restaurants in a hotel, you know, you might want to just not go in your sort of poolside attire. In fact, some things you can't. So let's talk about what the dress codes actually say for these places. So all the signature dining restaurants typically have the same dress code. But what I'm getting at is they might apply it slightly differently, but they have it, and they have a part in bold text too. So, Amelia, what does that dress code say?
They say, this restaurant is a Disney signature dining experience, offering fine dining with a distinctly magical flair. Guests are expected to dress accordingly in attire that respects the restaurant's sophisticated and upscale aesthetic. Clothing should be clean, neat, and in good condition. Please, no swimwear.
And which part is in bold?
Guests are expected to dress accordingly. So basically, they want you to dress to the feel of the restaurant, which makes sense. Something that is nice and beautiful in Victoria and Albert's could definitely still be overdressed.
Well, we'll get into
else.
theirs in a minute because they have their own, and I'll have you read that too. But so that's what all the signature dining restaurants say. And with all these dress codes, they're not super strict, but they don't want anyone, if you sort of fall below the line of anything that starts to look ratty and is going to ruin the ambiance, they can refer to this and say, that is not dressed accordingly, and here's what it says.
Well, Victoria and Albert's has an age code too, so...
Yeah, this is totally unique. Well, let's read what Victoria and Albert's dress code says, just in case you want to go there. And it is now Michelin starred, and let us tell you, we love it.
Oh, yeah. They say Victoria and Albert is an exquisite and intimate upscale dining experience and the culinary crown jewel of Walt Disney World Resort. Guests are expected to dress accordingly in semi-formal/formal attire that respects the restaurant's elegant and opulent aesthetic.
And for men, that means a jacket. And if you do not bring one on your trip, they will give you one to wear. So
somebody in Disney enjoyed the thesaurus writing these definitions.
So
good job, guys.
if you want to do anything nice, definitely pack upscale clothes. It's fun. Just one outfit.
Yeah.
It's fun to dress up and go to a lounge or whether it's the Enchanted Rose or Tambu Lounge at the Polynesian or any lounge anywhere, even in the parks. You just want to feel a little nicer. It's a mental break from what you wore all day.
I mean, I'm always that person, so I'm a little biased. Like, I'll put on a cute outfit for a backyard barbecue, but I always just think it's nice for whatever is formal to you to just dress nice, do your hair how you want it, just put a little bit of effort into yourself, whatever that looks like for you, because I think it does really make a difference to each and every person.
And since we're talking about whether people do dress up at Walt Disney World, there are a couple of more occasions where they actually do, and you can do one. You might do both if you hit the timing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a lot of different things. So beyond like just bringing nicer clothes or even dressing up for some of their specific parties, you can also take part in Disney bounding and the occasional Dapper Days. So Disney bounding is basically when you create an outfit that's sort of inspired by a Disney character, which is not a costume. So this is more a trend a little while ago, but definitely for adults, it's a nice option. And it can take elements of a different character's style to craft with whatever your own outfit. And then Dapper Days are specific days, not officially for Disney, but guests like
They have a huge following.
Yeah.
And we've been there for one or two. It's really fun to see in the parks.
Yeah, because guests dress very nicely in vintage style clothing. So if I were you, I would look ahead of time trying to see if one is there when you're there and maybe even try to participate because you will definitely notice that guests are dressed up.
Yeah, they go all out from
on Dapper Days.
steampunk to like 50s style with big dresses and monocle glasses and hat. It's pretty cool, actually. And of course, it fits the vibe, especially in the Magic Kingdom,
It's
which
so
is
cool.
where I
love all the
recall-
hair too.
Yeah, the
is
hair.
my favorite.
People go all out for Dapper Days. So we just wanted to talk about dressing up and should you bring not formal, but an upscale resort wear, sometimes you can call it outfit. If that suits you and you want to feel a little different for a signature dining or a night out or drinks or going to a show in Disney Springs, absolutely do it. We gave you some ideas here, what you can pack and what you can wear. So have some fun with it. We like the idea always.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you have it. Thanks as always for listening. Follow along on social media at 1923 Main Street. Visit us at 1923mainstreet.com. We'll see you again next week and have a magical day.
Bye-bye.